If you don't recognize the my old setup, this is my old chair, and this is my old microphone. I made the decision to move back to the Shure SM58. I think it just has a superior dynamic audio. It's way easier to edit with. Parts are super cheap. So the Shure MV7. I got this mic with the hopes of the sound quality going up. I don't like the sound quality, and it doesn't have the same it doesn't have the same quality that I like. I'm a big fan of dynamic mics, and usually those are like $2,000 mics. This mic was super cheap. Parts to replace the microphone itself are super cheap. So as long as it's cheap and it works, it's a fantastic mic. I'm pretty sure collectively I've had this mic for 25 years. I got this mic probably in 2014 when my uncle asked if I was streaming and he had his own studio and he had to move. And his wife didn't like that he had a studio in his house that he owned. So when he moved out, he gave me this mic, and boy, did it put me on another spectrum of audio quality. So I'm going back to the audio quality due to the fact that it just sounds superior. I can talk into the mic, it's clear. You can't hear the wind in the background if I move away. But today I want to talk about Silksong, and if this story and background characters are for lesbians, gay, and trans, I think this is probably the best way to make a game about it. I'll explain in a little bit. Let's get introductions first. Can't already tell, I have way more room, and the mic is not as heavy, so that I can move around, I can use my hands, and I can talk freely to the audience, my small little audience. 99% of you are not subscribed, and the people that are subscribed, I appreciate you so much. I got a good review on the last Silksong video. There was only one person, because the video is still new as of like 4 days ago, but still get lost in the algorithm before like a small YouTuber can get noticed. I understand that. So I want to first foremost start out the video saying that these are going to be spoilers, and the clips that I'm going to show you are going to be some of the clips that I included in my last video. However, we're just going to go back over it, and I'll see if I can pull some clips out of my stream if it's still there. So the storyline goes, and we'll go off of other YouTubers that have covered the story. To me, it feels like that there are a lot of lesbians. There are gay couples. Trobio could be considered a drag queen cross-dresser. And if I'm overreaching, just let me know in the comments, okay? These are for the advanced lore people. But from what I can tell, Hollow Knight Silksong seems like it's the perfect game to also include the LGBT, etc. A game that everyone can reflect with, and a game that everyone can enjoy. And so I think that's a very positive way to not only follow through with the community that you already have, your fans, millions of fans, and also include all groups, and have the story come together of the collective Citadel reign, which I got like their Nazi Germany kind of thing. Any Germans that are watching this, it's just not a personal attack on you. It's just kind of like how the story went. And I'm pretty sure you can kind of connect with other topics in history about how the Citadel was being ran, but this is my opinion on how I thought the Citadel was being ran, and I think they did, I know they did a fantastic job. And then if you want to also go into the lore, you can dive into these characters, and then you can make these assumptions. These are just my assumptions. It's not fact. But I found myself agreeing with other small YouTubers on YouTube about gays, lesbian, and it's even in the lore as you play the game. But I think it's just like the perfect way to include it in your story. Hold on. Before you get mad at me, no, I am not trying to push anything, okay? This is what I am assuming. Please do not be mad at me. Spoiler alert ahead. When you interact with some of these NPCs, Chakra, I believe that is the male, his teacher being a female. Those are just worries. Any other NPC that gives you like the wish mission are I think they're just straight. But the couple that I want to talk about are the cog. Those without a shadow of a doubt are gay lovers. They're both males, right? He goes on to explain that they were madly in love, made to rule the kingdom together. Their kingdom over in Verdania, which I will show on the map. When they were robbed at the citadel of each other. Now, these guys interact quite like in a loving manner. Again, don't be mad at me. Spoilers. I've said it like 3 times, 4 times. The implications that I got were that they were in love. Their love was robbed. And from robbing their love, he was punished for... and I won't spoil that story. Let's just say he was punished and put in jail. So that is a confirmed gay couple. Now, what I said about the cross-dresser would be Trobio. Now, there are 2 implications here. Either he is a stage performer that just performs for the Citadel, or he is a cross-dresser. Do with that with what you will, but the way he dresses is feminine. In the story Silksong and Even Hollowness, Hornet is described as wearing a red dress. Okay, she dresses very nice, very mature, even though people call her a child. She's a lot older than what she appears to be, but she dresses very nice. Now insert Trobio in that, and he's got this, not red, Hornet's wearing a red. He's got this pink kind of flamboyant puffy thing around his neck. Debatable if it's a part of his body, which I highly doubt because when you fight him for the second time, he's wearing purple. So he's very much a drama queen in a sense that has nothing to do with LGBT, but he's very much a like drama-esque kind of character, being overly dramatic when he beat him the first time and overly dramatic when you beat him the second time. You don't actually kill that person. So he's actually pretty strong, and we might see him up for a 3rd and 4th fight later in the future for DLC. Who knows? He's very like out there, is what I'm trying to say. Hornet talks about mating and that the mates that she has chosen, they don't last as long because due to her age. And I got that kind of a sense from like spiders in general. Usually the female will outlast the male because the male's job is just to like impregnate the let's say a Black Widow. Like the male's job is just to impregnate the Black Widow. The Black Widow then eats the male's head, and then they continue living. And I'm going to base assumptions like that. She is part weaver, part worm. So if she was looking for a mate in that aspect, I understand that she's saying they don't last as long as I do as far as life, because the women do tend to live longer lives. And in the city of Citadel, you'll find that you're interacting with mostly women bugs, which kind of makes sense. Usually the women will outlast the males. The males are predominantly smaller than the female counterpart. There is not really a debate because in the community, I don't think they're going to talk about it, but I think it's kind of interesting. This is my 2 cents on the matter. If Hornet is to be a lesbian, it wouldn't be that far-fetched from the Cog twins. I'm sorry if I butcher their names. I'll look up their names and I'll put it in the video. Like, that's his name. Him and his lover and the king of Verdania were set to rule with each other, and they were like kind of a dancing pair, okay? And you can kind of feel the connection when the Hornet kind of dances with her enemies. She's not really fighting them per se. Like in Hollow Knight, it's basically the first mini boss that you could run into in Green's Point, or you run into 2 other bosses. Who am I thinking of? The 2 other bosses that you could possibly run into. There's like a mini boss on the right side of the map which is not really a mini boss. It's just like someone you can collect in a hunter's journal. So, bosses are included in that. So I'm going to call him a mini boss. And then you get to the false knight. Now, you could interact with the false knight, or you can skip the false knight. That's like your first actual boss. And then you get to the Grood Mother in the lower right, next to the place that you get all the other socket slots to put on your charms and all that. Okay, beyond that, it's more like once you first fight Hornet, it's more like a dance. Like this whole theatrics of the art of war, the art of like intimidation, like it kind of all works together because martial arts kind of works in the same fashion. Any MMA, like once you are watching two top dogs fight, it's almost like a rhythmic symphony orchestra. Like you'll say, oh, he like Joe Rogan would mention, hey, they orchestrated that fight so well. The fight went super good. Like kind of dancing his way into submitting someone. You can perceive it however you want. You can say, oh, they're just fighting. I look at fights differently, especially if they're well choreographed. It's more like a dance. So when you fight Hornet, you're getting used to the dance, right? You're getting used to fighting bosses that have like a beat. The music goes with their attacks. The music speeds up. Their attack is going to speed up. The first good example of that is when you go into the Mance's Queens. When you get Mance's Claw, and then you get the Mark of Pride over in that area with the Mance's Claws in that area as well. So that's like usually the first area people are going to go clear. That's the first area that I cleared when I was playing Hollow Knight. And what I'm trying to get to is that when you fast forward to Silksong is still functioning off like the art of dancing and fighting. They kind of emphasize that more, I feel like. If you didn't play with the music on, for one, you missed out. But you had to play with the music on to get that feeling of like, this is a dance. Like, this is a life or death situation where Hornet is literally dancing for the future of Farloom, for the future of Hollownest. What I'm getting at is I don't think it's too far-fetched to say that there are gay bugs that are confirmed in Silksong, and I don't think it's too far-fetched to say Hornet is a lesbian. Now, am I overreaching? Are you going to hate me for it? Absolutely. I may have just disrespected the Hollow Knight community, and I'm sorry about that. But this is the kind of feelings that I got from the story. I got that they were gay lovers. I got the intentions that Hornet was a lesbian looking for a mate that will last her age. And like I said, usually the female insects will last longer with age versus their male counterparts. Chakra is still we'll say like a teen master of the, fighting with the whole Pashanka. And his master that he was learning from was exploring by themselves because that was like their tribe instinct is to explore cartography, map the area, and then move on, explore cartography, move on. That's just like their culture of their tribe. So when you end up finding the master that's dead over in the far right area of the map, again, spoilers, you get the sense that Chakra will fight to the end. A life that is not going to last long at all from the male perspective of I'm going to go out dying or I'm going to go out swinging because this is what I believe in. And that's kind of fits into the culture. That kind of fits into what I'm talking about. Hornet will swing for Farloom. Hornet will swing her nail, or is it a nail? No, her needle. Hornet will swing her needle for Farloom. She will swing her needle for Hollownest, and she kind of dances with the devil, dances with death. And that's how I believe the characters, like you playing as Hornet in Silksong, you can connect to Chakra that, hey, as long as you're here, I'm with you. I'm in battle, you're in battle. We dance together. It's the whole dancing between like life and death kind of thing. That's what I got from the story. Other than that fact, usually you can find the males. I'm going to assume the straight males. They're often by themselves or they're masters of something. Like the pin master that you meet in Bellheart is a person you can talk to that will sharpen your needle, and I would say 100% he is a straight male. Now, if you drop from where the Pen Master is in Bellheart, you'll come across a very, I would say, flamboyant male singer who is very theatrical. And that could tie into maybe he sat in the theater to watch Trobio. That's how they kind of interacted. So again, this is a super short video. I have zero information to go off of. But however, I did find something that I will look up. Give me 1 second. I don't know why I closed that. So I will take a screenshot of where I got this from. Again, I don't have anything to go off of, but what they said kind of does make sense. So it's by Jade King, and you can find him on thegamer.com. Whether you want to accept this or not, entirely up to you. Again, this is up for interpretation. This is no right, this is no wrong. So I'm going to scroll back to the bottom. Cuteness aside, fans have also been making nuanced observations about this ship and how it's similar to other games like Nine Souls, and how the main character is also shipped with an early game enemy who tries to murder them. Never underestimate the power of enemies of lover. All the sapphic ships with Hollow Knight fandom also points to how queer many of its players are, and how even in the melancholy Metroidvania there are characters worthy of admiration we can project our own romantic ideals onto. Again, they're not saying that this is fact, they're saying that you can make these conclusions yourself without ruining the story. Silksong is not about the LGBT, but you can kind of conclude that in your own opinion, like I have, on certain characters that are gay or are lesbians or maybe are drag queens. Pretty sure there's probably another name for that, but again, this is my opinion. So they go on to say that Hornet is a female bug on a mission to avenge her already fallen kingdom, and yet diary entries reveals that beneath her honor is emotion and desire to spend the rest of her life with someone else. I doubt that's any of the other bugs like Chakra or Lace we met in Silksong, but the fact that so much art is already out in the wild warms my heart the other way. And then I believe that's it, because they go on to talking about like Chakra and the other interactions, like with the male characters that are just like, hey sexy mama, and they try to kiss Hornet. Well, obviously you've seen the clips, they're floating all over YouTube. I will properly put a spoiler for like the 18th time that says that Hornet doesn't really get down like that. Not in the sense that she may be lesbian. Okay, I'm just saying from the story's perspective, she might want someone who lives a longer time than the other bugs, the other male companions. Or the opposite effect to that is she wants someone who's like well-groomed and perhaps a royalty. Like she speaks to Chakra with like the utmost respect, especially their interactions of like you know Chakra like stands over her like 5 feet in her world, 5-6 feet in her world. Super tall bug, but yeah. So that's gonna be the end of the video, and I just want to, again, don't hate me. I want to say that yeah, maybe some characters are gay and maybe some characters are drag and Hollow Knight, and that's okay because the story in itself for Silksong is just, it overbears that small little minute detail of lore. Now, I could be totally wrong and this video could be totally useless, but that wouldn't mean that I can't have open interpretations of said story. Again, I'm not trying to start any arguments. I'm not trying to defame Hollow Knight. What I want to do is just say, hey, Team Cherry did a great job if that was their intention to include that. It didn't even cross my mind at the first time I played it. The second time I played it, I was like, wait, this could be like kind of a hint at something for the characters. But again, they can come out with something in DLC that just totally debunks what I say. So regardless, it's an opinion. I hope you have a restful, wonderful, better day. If you don't like and subscribe, leave a comment. And I love you. We'll see you in the next one.